If the only thing you do is talk about possibility for your clients, hey, it's possible for you to be a better leader, to lose weight, to be more confident, to da-da-da-da-da. Great. But that alone isn't going to be enough for most people to hire you. Because most people are so jaded now, they have such high sales resistance, and they've tried things that haven't worked, they're gonna be like, well, okay. So now we're going back to enrollment, and I've said this in some of the laser sessions, but I'll repeat it, right? There's a two-step model. Right? And this is a high-level thing, so we can talk about how to do that, but step one is the client has to see life differently. Okay? So, when I first hired Chandler, for example, he said, hey Kush, you know it's possible for you to make £5,000 a month from coaching. I didn't even consider that as possible. I thought that was crazy talk. It's like, wow, really? And I started to see my business differently. I started to see life differently. Like, there could be an outcome that's different. The exercise we did this morning was helpful in that it started to have people start imagine, like Nick was saying, I hadn't even considered a level of operating that we were talking about this morning. So that's kind of like step one, see life differently. And coaches are generally quite good at that, and that could be through sharing stories, it could be coaching, it through asking certain questions, right? But it's often not enough on its own. Step two is live life differently. If the only thing you do is talk about possibility for your clients, hey, it's possible for you to be a better leader, to lose weight, to be more confident, to da-da-da-da-da. Great. But that alone isn't going to be enough for most people to hire you. Because most people are so jaded now, they have such high sales resistance, and they've tried things that haven't worked, they're gonna be like, well, okay, yeah, right. Or they might want to believe it, but then they have all these objections and ideas. But step two is you have a client live life differently. Have them start seeing what you're pointing them to start living it. So, for example, I spoke briefly to yesterday or this morning, and he was like, wow, I've not been able to get the training off my mind from Friday, and I've been thinking this, and I've been thinking that, and I've seeing. So now it's not like, oh, there's a possibility. Now he's living differently in a small way. So when he starts living differently, and he's already said, I want more. I'm considering coaching. I'm considering getting coaching on this. So he told me this morning, right? It's the second step, right? I love using, cookie examples. Is in the corner. He used to be a fan of Ben's cookies. I think he's moved on to something else now. If you used to walk past Ben's cookies in London, there would often be someone with samples. Now you see a sample, I can see life could be different if I had that cookie. But when you eat it, that's when your life changes. That's when you walk into the shop and buy a bag of cookies you didn't realize you needed. All right? And I'm kind of using a bit of humor, but that's how it works. That's how coaching works. Right? I was, speaking to Chandler about this years ago about the power and impact of coaching. And he goes, back in time, he goes, if I don't hire Steve Hardison, he's talking about himself, he said, I just can't imagine a world where I would become the guy I am now without that. right? And it's funny because it was only since I've started the last few years working with Steve Hardison that it's really dawned on me, even though I'd worked with Chandler for all these years, just how much growth there was. Like who Chandler was when he started working with Steve compared to who we see him as now. I mean, it's not a small change. I mean, it's insane. This guy who's probably one of the best public speakers I've ever come across was terrible and was scared to talk to like 2 people, right? Couldn't sell anything, was talking himself out, like, and then that guy to become Steve Chandler is pretty crazy. So for me, that in the middle of that, the coaching that he received has unlocked something, and personally I'm a massive, hence the school, massive believer and advocate for coaching, because I think the impact that coaching makes, it's not, to me, it's not like you're always headed on a default path and, you know, this is just one way to get there. I mean, and if that was true, it could be helpful. But I think coaching's, and in my personal experience, far more helpful than that in unlocking an outcome for clients. So if you would like to have more people enroll with you, and I know some of you have talked to me about this in the breaks and whatever, see how you can apply this into your enrollment. Because people are not, you think you're doing this, but if people aren't signing up, chances are you're not. Coaches tend to do step 1 really well. And telling people about what you see and what's possible, that's great. Talking about logistics, how long your coaching package is, that's neither of these. Yeah. Right? Client testimonials, maybe a little bit of one. It's not the best way to get to one, but could be. It's not living life differently. You want to really lean into this. And so we try and do this in the school, and we've talked about it, but I'll reiterate it. We are trying to have it be that anyone who comes across the school information not only gets great information, not is like, oh, this could be me too, I could do well, but before they join the school, they increase their income. Before they join the school, they become more impactful as a coach. Before they pay, they have a great result, a bigger shift than they would have done if they'd done another paid program. If we lean into that, that's one, a much nicer way for us to be, and 2, it's more likely to fill the school.